Hey everybody, my name's Steve Davis. I'm founder and CEO of Patmos Marketing. We're a digital marketing agency based out of Grace Hill Farm in Chesney, South Carolina. Welcome to Around the Upstate.
I'm standing in the middle of a miracle, feet planted in promises of the Lord.
All right, Upstate peeps. Happy morning, whatever day this is you're watching this. This is Around the Upstate, which is a podcast that we've started here to feature local businesses, local business trends, local music, and also just technology trends and the latest things you can be taking advantage of, especially when it comes to digital marketing. Today, I have with me a special guest, Parker McGraw of Parker McGraw Group. Parker is a standout realtor in Spartanburg, South Carolina, whose passion for real estate in the Upstate shines through his work. Welcome, Parker.
Hey, good to be here, Steve. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So I guess to start out, let's just share your journey. I mean, I've known you now for almost a year. I guess we've been in a networking group together, and just tell the folks a little bit about, your background, how you got into real estate.
Yeah, so I'm a Spartanburg native, born and raised here in the Upstate. I grew up in Inman, South Carolina. I currently live on the west side of Spartanburg. So as far as how, I wouldn't really say how I got into real estate, but kind of when that mindset developed that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, was in college. So I went to USC Upstate. It was probably around my junior year of college. My dad, he worked for a company in Spartanburg. It was a family-owned company. I won't get too much into the details, but just saw some things happening there with him. He didn't lose his job or anything like that. We just saw some decisions that were made with leadership that kind of made me start thinking, I don't really know if I want to pour my heart and soul into someone else's business for 20 years.
Right.
And they have control over my future. I wanted to have control over my own future, so to speak. So that's when I developed the mindset. I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to work for myself. I wanted to kind of cut my own trail, so to speak. So just started exploring avenues of how I could do that and actually make a profit. And I had a family member who lived out of state who was in real estate. So I talked to her, got a little bit more details about what she did. And I thought, oh, that doesn't really sound like a salesy kind of job. That just sounds more like building relationships, which is something I've always enjoyed and have naturally been good at. So I had a full-time job all through college. Once I graduated from Upstate, I went to night school, got my real estate license, kept that same full-time job for a short period of time until I could get a few deals under my belt, get some experience. And then I jumped into it, full steam ahead. And here we are 11 years later.
Amazing. Yeah. So folks, if you want to check out Parker McGraw, parkermcgraw.com, I invite you to check it out, take a deeper look into Parker and his team. Let's just talk about Spartanburg in general. Growing up here, you could have gone anywhere. What made you decide to want to stick around here and start your real estate practice in Spartanburg?
Yeah, so I would take it back to the relationships. I didn't want to leave here because I had family here. I had friends here. I obviously love the area, but more than that, I love the people in the area. So it was emotional to begin with. But then as my real estate career started to grow, I realized that a lot of my business comes from those relationships that I've developed. So,
Right.
Okay, yeah, average sales price is a lot higher in Texas, in California. You don't even have to go that far. Charlotte.
Yep.
Yeah, but I don't know anybody there. I know everybody here, and I'm able to help them with my real estate knowledge. And they're sending me business because they trust me and value me. So that's why I never left, man, is because of the relationships and the people.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you think makes Spartanburg unique and appealing from both a place to live and also a place to invest in?
Yeah, so I would say the geographical location of it is one. You live here. You're an hour from the mountains. You're 3 hours from the coast. You can be in Asheville pretty quickly. You can be in Charleston pretty quickly. But the cost of living here is cheaper than those areas. So I would say affordability and geographical location is kind of what sets Spartanburg apart. A very affordable place to live when you look at the surrounding areas, mild climate. Like, we're not Florida, but we're not North Dakota either. It doesn't get frigidly cold here in the winter. So all of that combines together just to make it a really special place.
Yeah, we get a little taste of all 4 seasons, but not too much of the
Exactly.
bad parts.
Yeah.
That's for sure. What about just neighborhoods, community vibes, any kind of hidden gems you think are like your favorite places, not just in Spartanburg and the Upstate, because I know you're not just Spartanburg. You actually have your license in North Carolina as well.
Right. So I'm biased to my hometown, man. I'm an Inman boy. I grew up in Inman. My grandfather was a peach farmer. He did more than peaches. He did corn. He did everything. So I grew up in a rural area. I always loved that. I still love that. You kind of live in freedom out there. So I'm biased towards those parts of the county. That northern part. At Boiling Springs, man, from when I was a kid to what it's done now, just that kind of explosion of growth. It's awesome that, you've got a Walmart now there, you've got a Target, you've got 2 Ingles grocery stores, a Publix, but also you just go, a little bit down Highway 9 and you've got Lake Bowen, go up Highway 11, you've got, Strawberry Hill up there, which is very rural. So I would say
now
that
you're in my hood.
Yeah, exactly. I'm coming to your neighborhood, man.
Yep.
But yeah, I love it all. I mean, like I said, I'm biased towards my hometown, but I mean, even
That's
when you get
awesome.
on that other side of the county, Pauline area, very affordable real estate out there. Lots of cow pastures, lots of beautiful country land, but you're also 15 minutes from downtown.
Yep.
So that's the cool part about Spartanburg. You've got all the amenities per se of you can go downtown, you can enjoy yourself, but you also can go back home and still live in the country. And you're only talking about a 20-minute drive.
Yeah, and I can tell you, Parker knows all the good restaurants.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, all the hole in the wall places to the yeah, and so I think, just talk a little bit about it. To me, if you're moving to the area, and you're looking at the Greenville Spartanburg area, and you're kind of thinking that Spartanburg might be an area you want to look at, just talk about what it means when you grew up here and you're just able to leverage that to really give them an experience to see everything they need to see in order to make a good decision versus somebody that just kind of moved here recently as a realtor.
So, every person's different. They move to areas for different reasons. But, like I just touched on, for me personally, it still has that small town feel that I don't think you're going to get from a Charlotte or an Atlanta. Now, those are awesome places. Lots of income opportunities out there, lots of nightlife, lots of sights to see. But I don't know. I just kind of feel like Spartanburg is the best bang for your buck because you can still get a taste of that. But you also feel a little more homey here because everybody knows everybody. And then just that sense of pride you get from seeing, the development of Spartanburg over the last 25 years, like that. I remember what the Spartanburg County Courthouse looked like and what it looks like now. Like that gives me pride to see that huge building, how beautiful it is compared to what it used to look like. All the growth out there on 290 in Duncan. I remember when that was absolutely nothing, and now it's just blown up. So yeah, just that kind of sense of pride. It's almost like watching your kid grow up. I like that. I like to see the growth. I like to see all the opportunities that our hometown can offer.
Yeah, that's awesome. So talk a little bit about your team.
Yeah, so I like to tell everybody that when you hire Parker, you're not just hiring one agent. You're hiring a group of people who are dedicated to either finding you the right home or investment property, or they're dedicated to getting your home or investment property sold. The reason I started a team is the first 5 years in real estate, I was good at doing it on my own. But then as I started to get older and I started, I got married, I've got a little girl now. I realized that I couldn't just work all the time. I couldn't work into the wee hours of the night. I needed some help to leverage that out and still provide my clients a high level of customer service. So,
Yep.
That's how the team concept started. So now it's myself. We have a full-time transaction coordinator, Hannah. Hannah is like our client concierge. So if you can't get me because I'm out in the field running and gunning, Hannah is in the office Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. She keeps us organized, handles all of our paperwork. A lot of people don't see all the behind the scenes things that happen once a home goes under contract until it closes. If you do not have somebody keeping a watchful eye on that, it can go screwy really, really fast.
Yeah.
So Hannah is there to make sure that does not happen, and that's her full-time job. Megan is our marketing coordinator. Megan's full-time job is making sure that all of our properties are advertised to the people they need to be advertised to. They're in front of the right people so that home is selling quickly and for top dollar. Megan
and so Hannah's to your left as you face the screen, to your right, and
there,
Megan is on the
Megan,
right of the screen.
Megan's right beside me, and then Hannah's there on the other side of mine. Megan is really good with social media as well. She runs targeted ads. We got a lot of people moving here, a lot of out-of-state traffic. You know, kind of the big five are California, Oregon, Washington, New York, and New Jersey. So she runs targeted social media ads in those areas to capture that traffic. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. She's a tech guru, man. We couldn't do this without Megan. And then Mark is our designated buyer's agent. So Mark takes a lot of the showings and running around off of me, but he's also lived in Spartanburg for over a decade. So he brings his own sphere of influence to the team as well.
That's great. So maybe just touch on a little bit about your philosophy and your style. What makes you different, I think, from other realtors?
So and this sounds very simple, man, but like I've always tried to treat people the way I would want to be treated. And I go back to that relationship aspect of the business. I've never really felt like a salesman. I've just felt like somebody who builds relationships. You know, whether you're buying or whether you're selling, I'm going to treat you like you're my family. I'm going to advise you like you're my family. And the really cool part about that is that leads to more business. Like I'm 100% sure that is why we've grown the way we've grown, is because we emphasize building that relationship with our clients. Yes, we're going to give you expert negotiation skills. Yes, we're going to give you expert marketing. Yes, we're going to work around the clock for you, but we're not just doing it to get a commission check. We're doing it because we want to not just make you a past client. We want to make you a raving fan of the Parker McGraw Group. So you get the best value when you buy a home. You get the most for your home when we sell it for you, but you also get some really good new friends that are friends for life.
Yeah, and folks, when you look up Parker McGraw online, you'll see his business profile. You'll find over 100 references and reviews there, as well as on his website, parkermcgraw.com. You can also visit his Facebook page and really see some of the work Megan does. And also some of the recent wins. Tell us a little bit about some of your favorite stories recently, Parker, where you help some families out, help some folks out. So you told me some of them.
Yeah. We had a lot in the pandemic area, and then right there after the pandemic era of just people did not realize how much equity they had in their home. You know, like I think it was an average of around like $90,000 we were making our clients during that probably 2001 through probably the middle of 2023 period. So that was always fun. Just people being surprised that, wow, I've got this much activity on my house. Wow, I'm going to make this much. And we were able to, in that time frame, you know, you could upsize in a house. So for instance, you could sell your $250,000 house, and then because rates had dropped so low, you could take that equity, roll that into the next house, and you could upsize to, you know, maybe a 4-bedroom with a bonus. Now you're at a $400,000 house, and your mortgage payment's about the same. So that was awesome to be able to do that for people. You don't see that as much anymore because, I mean, homes are still appreciating and going up in value, but not nearly at the rate that they were during COVID.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, that's always the fun part, man, of seeing people just realizing the value they have in their real estate assets, because most people don't realize just how much kind of generational wealth and a net worth you can build through real estate, and we educate them on that.
Yeah, and talk about a little bit about your specialty areas, things maybe that you really enjoy doing. I mean, there's a lot of talk about the housing market right now and how difficult it is for first-time home buyers, for instance, young families to get that first home, get out of a rental situation into their first home. There's a lot of folks that are maybe downsizing, a lot of different unique situations. Are there any of those that you kind of feel like you might specialize in?
I would say, as far as our specialty, we specialize in education. We are going to educate
Okay.
each individual client on what's the best option for them. So, like, to use your example of first-time home buyers, yeah, that's a legitimate problem right now. Housing
Yeah.
affordability, for people who I just mentioned who already had a home that's appreciated, they can use that equity to help them get to their next
Hmm.
move. Somebody coming straight out of college, they're not going to
Yeah.
be able to do that. But we educate them on new construction. So one thing about new builds right now is that a lot of builders are offering incentives. So they will pay down they'll pay your closing costs. A lot of them are
Yeah.
doing $10,000 to $15,000 in closing costs if you go with their preferred lender, which usually that covers about all of it. So then the
Hmm.
buyer, they're only looking for their down payment money, or if they do a USDA loan, they don't even have that. So we kind of
Yeah.
educate them on that. And as far as other folks, that come to us, if they already have a house, how we can use that equity to better them. For example, like, let's say somebody comes to me right now and says, "Hey, I want to move, but I'm buried in debt. Credit card debt, automobile debt, whatever." Okay, well, great. You've lived in your house for 10 years. You have just an insane amount of equity. Yes, you're going to have to trade your 3% mortgage rate for a 6, but what if we use a lot of that equity to pay down your other debt, move you into your next house,
Yep.
and yes, maybe you've got the same amount coming out a month as far as your debt to income, but that money now is being paid towards killing off a mortgage, building equity and building net worth, as opposed to just throwing it away on credit card debt. So it depends on everybody's situation. But if we were not committed to education as a team, we would
Hmm.
not be able to provide that value to our clients. So as far as our specialty, Steve, I would say it's education. We're
Yeah,
always
that's
learning and
great.
focused so that we can pass that on to our clients.
Yeah, and you and I really have that in common. I remember when we first met because being in software sales for 25 years, sometimes they would do personality profiles and say, "Well, what are your top reps like?" So we can hire some more. And I think it's happened 3 times, twice in professionally, and one was just actually through my church where they were trying to help you figure out where your gifts lie.
Yeah.
And all of them said, "Why is this guy in sales? He's a teacher." And I said, "Well, because, that's what I do. I'm out there on the leading edge talking about technology all the time and teaching folks how it can help them. And the sale just kind of comes if that's the case. And I think your style is very similar and that really comes across. So folks, you can check Parker McGraw out on the internet, parkermcgraw.com, on his website, as well as his Facebook page. Just look up Parker McGraw. I guess just talk a little bit about the community connection that you have, things that you're doing around the Spartanburg community. I
Yeah.
know I attended an event that you had around the holidays. It was really cool. So,
Yeah, we like I said, I love the people here in Spartanburg. That's grew up here. That's the reason I never moved. So always try to pour back into the community. We normally do 2 big client appreciation events every year. The one we're doing this year is at the new Spartanburg Stadium. So
yeah.
we rented out a good portion of the stadium. Tickets are on us. We're bringing people in for that. The fall one that we normally do, we give away Thanksgiving pies. That's been very
Yeah.
popular. We've been doing that one for probably about 5 or 6 years. As far as personally, my wife and I are really involved at Lake Bowen Baptist Church. Um,
Yep.
the brokerage that we are with, Keller Williams Realty, every May they do something called Red Day, where we find community service projects, whether that's through it's not Christmas in Action anymore. It's can't remember the name. It just recently changed, but we did a lot through formerly Christmas in Action, as well as the Spartanburg Soup Kitchen. I'm also involved in Rotary. Um, The used to be the Inman Rotary Club. Now it's the Rotary Club of the Carolina Foothills. So yeah, man, I'm all about pouring back into the community because, like I said, it's that small town feel, and I care about the people that live here.
All right. Well, I think we covered most of what I wanted to go over. I think just if there's any kind of just tips that you have right now about the market. You talked a little bit about the first home buyer situation and how you can work around that, or how you can leverage your equity to get out of debt and move into a larger home and kind of keep your payment the same. Any other tips? Just what's going on right now, because you're headed into the spring, really busy time. Anything unique going on in the market right now? I know everybody's talking about Doge. Everybody's talking about the market being up and down. Maybe interest rates are coming down. Any tips on how to navigate through all this?
So a couple of things I would just advise people is, I don't want to say don't listen to the media, but don't get emotional about what's in the media, because I mean, it always sounds like the sky's falling, and that's the way they have to make it sound, because that's what, it doesn't really sell newspapers anymore. Nobody reads the newspaper, but it gets clicks. But all of this panic about, the stock market crashing, don't let that stop you from, if you want to make a real estate move, don't let that stop you, man. I mean, there's so many things about that are causing people to panic that are actually kind of good for the real estate industry. So for example, I mean, the Dow, it's bounced back now, but I mean, it went way down last Friday. But what happened was, a lot of those people, they're moving money out of stocks, they're moving them into bonds. Well, when you talk about bonds and the 10-year treasury yield, that has a more positive effect on mortgage rates. By positive, I mean they start coming down, which is good for buyers and sellers, because for buyers, it allows them to get a cheaper monthly payment. For sellers, it increases demand, which means more people are going to be out there looking for your house. But also you think about rates going up. Rates have been going up since 2022. Okay, they got as high as 8% at the end of 2023. But I have been in real estate for 11 years, and at least in Spartanburg County, never in those 11 years have home prices started to drop off. They have steadily increased every single year. Now, from 2020 to 2022, they skyrocketed. They're not skyrocketing anymore, but you're still seeing that, 2 to 4% growth every single year. So I'm of the opinion that no matter what happens with the economy, I think our area is going to be somewhat insulated, at least real estate wise, because you have so many people moving here from out of state. People who are still in the workforce, they moved to the upstate because of industry. You've got BMW, you've got Michelin, the new plant that just opened in Woodruff I think that's for BMW electric vehicles. So don't panic. That would be my tips to everybody. Like, don't panic. If you ever want to have a conversation, we're not going to try to sell you something, but if you just want to have a 30-minute conversation with me about what's going on with the real estate market, man, I'll talk real estate all day. You'll have to come up and get me to shut up. So that would be my tips. Just don't panic. Talk to a real estate professional if you're thinking about making a move, and we'll get you through it.
Yeah. So folks, if you're thinking about buying, selling, or just want to chat about the upstate market, like Parker said, head to parkermcgraw.com to get in touch with Parker and his team. And just invite you guys to listen and subscribe to Around the Upstate. We're going to continue to have more local business trends, local businesses. We're going to have some musical guests, and we're going to also be talking about tech trends on this podcast. So check it out, and we'll join you next time. Thanks again to Parker for joining us, and really enjoyed having you on, and look forward to watching your business continue to grow. Thanks again,
Steve. Thanks for having me.
You bet.